have been interviewing a lot of artists, young, old, popping, not popping as much. And I love the atmosphere which you bring to Pacific Push. You guys have a lot of good insight. The first show I ever heard, you had a financial thing going on where you were pointing people in the right direction for financial literacy. I was amazed. This was months ago. This was a while ago. I was amazed. How do you feel about giving back to a community, trying to bring education and knowledge to a community?
Well, I'm glad you said that, D. Brooklyn, because I did have to double back on, one of the earlier statements. And I was like, well, in the community, then it just dawned upon me. I do want to say out here in Hawaii, as a matter of fact, we're kicking it off on January 18th. Shout out to YBK, you know what I'm saying, the Young Black Kings, DJ Hollywood Polo, the Boys and Girls Club out here. On 18, they have a program we're starting called Educate to Elevate, and Pacific Push is one of the sponsors, right? So long story short, there's going to be an after-school program that we're joining up with a bunch of different vendors, and we're applying lessons via art, poetry, sports, music, team activities, creative media writing for children's everyday lives, and encouraging the importance of expressing themselves through art, hobbies versus violence and bullying. This is verbatim off of the site. You can check them out on Instagram, 333 WRLDY, 333 Worldwide. So that's just one of the initiatives that we have our hands with for sponsoring as far as the youth in the community. Now, getting back to these artists, right? Like you were saying, you're a funny dude, D. Brooklyn. I don't even like to say young, old, popping and not popping. They're all artists. They're all guests. They're everyone that comes into my house, I treat them with respect, with love, dignity. Doesn't matter if you sold 0 records or like today when I spoke to Flo Rida, who sold 100 million records. You get what I mean? It doesn't matter. But as far as the finessing 101 and just giving out game, you have to find a clever way. Just like when I watched the episode with Reggie, finesse is a term that's being used in the streets. It's been used forever. And, it's just a clever way of saying, hey, honestly, finding a way to have your way. You know what I mean? Not necessarily getting over or whatever. You have great platforms out here for African Americans and some that I'll watch, Earn Your Leisure, different things. But I had to find something that worked out for me. And I read a lot. You know what I mean? I'm an autodidact. I didn't finish my degree. I didn't do a lot of these different things. I just go off of knowledge because I understand that there's power in books, there's power in the internet, there's power in knowledge. And at the end of the day, if there's information in the book, I can take that information, I can break it down in my way and regurgitate it almost and give it to the community because I understand it's from a language and in presenting it in a way that they will respect and understand. Whether I'm talking about NFTs, we're talking about cryptocurrency, all the things that are popular. And nowadays with Finesse 101, I just talk about different situations, but just being able to share that knowledge and to educate, but at the same time, entertain and not come off in a preachy way, right? Because nobody wants to see somebody stiff and telling them, because look, I'm from the hood. Like, see, the difference is I'm approaching 40 years old, but I can go into my neighborhood right now, any neighborhood in Brooklyn, New York City, and I could kick it with 19-year-olds, 18-year-olds, and not try to hang out with them, but just feel their energy because hip hop is a young game. Understand that. Like, we all have a place in it, but it's from a young perspective. It's from the energy of the streets. If you haven't hung out and seen how these kids look and how they move, how they dress, the clothing, the fashion, if you're not in tune, then sometimes you can be taken aback and be like, damn, why the fuck ain't we listening to you? Like, you don't even know how to dress. You still wearing baggy clothes. And no disrespect to anybody who wears baggy clothes. You just have to know your audience, right? If you're going to go to a business meeting, you're going to a seminar, my brother Anon, when he set up his thing for his business, he's dressed to the nines, and everybody that comes next to him is dressed to the nines. If I showed up with a Pacific Push hat and my joggers, I look out of place. But if you take that same uniform and you showing up to the streets on the block where they drinking Hennessy in these small cups, you look out of place. So sometimes the easiest way to influence the sheep is get close to them and put on the same clothing, talk the same language, move the same way, speak to them, and then you can have some type of influence.
In my mind, as long as you stay yourself and stay true to yourself, you've already made it. An artist just did a song with me. He has that sound. Rasta Dej. He has that sound. This man is young, 24, 25 years old, something like that. He's about himself. You know what I mean? It's not about the streets. It's not about the money. It's not about all the bullshit you see on IG. Some of it is bullshit. But like it's all the negative images, like, oh, you have to look a certain way, you have to talk a certain way, you have to dress a certain way. Nah, be you. That's the way I look at it. A
I hear you,
non, I
bro.
ain't never gonna change you. You
Oh
gonna
no,
be a non.
you definitely not. But what see, I'll speak on something what OG said, and I definitely agree with him. You know, for me, the downfall to the career choice I made took me away from the country. It took me away from the country for a very long time. But I'm glad it did, because what it did was it allowed me to have a reflection over what I was doing as a hip hop artist, and it allowed me to actually mature, because I had to look in the mirror and reflect on, was the music I was making actually true to who I was? And that's why I don't vibrate at the same frequency as a lot of the new artists do. But I do like some of the songs, don't get me wrong. But I limit myself to trying to engulf myself in it because I don't vibrate on that same frequency. I appreciate what they're doing, but I don't need that energy in my life right now because I'm more mature and I'm on different things. I'm trying to move in different circles. And we call it the power of association. So I don't associate in those circles. So I'm not going to ever get myself caught up in those circles because we know what happens when you get out there perpetrating. And it's getting worse nowadays. I just read something, somebody was talking about that. The youngsters will check you quick, fast, in a hurry. And you don't want to be caught out there slipping, perpetrating something that you're not. You don't want to end up like Wheezy, where you're getting jumped into the game because you can't be up here talking slime this, slime that, but you're not actually carrying those colors. So he got jumped into the game. So now he can officially wear those colors he's been claiming. But let's be real. Do you really want that? Is that where you're trying to promote growth within the community? No, because when we go back to the foundation of the gangs and the gang culture, it was about protection, period. It was protection of blocks, just like no different than it was on the East Coast. That somehow it morphed into something that is grown out of proportion and out of control. I think it takes a lot of growth and maturity, and that's why I appreciate OG's interview with Loose Cannon. I know where he's from. And when OG approached him, what do you do about this cycle and how do you deal with the mental health of it? His response was, I pour into the kids. And that's where the OGs have to do it. Let's be honest, Loose Cannon's in his 20s, but even he has enough sense to know that his man just took an L right outside of his store trying to help the community. So he says, I'm going to pour into the kids, help the kids out. Because guess what? If we help and support the kids, now we can start talking about changing things. Now, us as more mature adults who are moving places in life, and especially everybody on this panel, we're doing big things. Now, if we start pouring into the kids, that's where we can make the difference. See, I can't do what OG does, but that's because OG has established himself that he is safe to do that. In my communities, I couldn't. So I have to go at a different angle and a different approach. So that's where Beyond the Reverb comes around. And that's where I tell you, OG, that's where this platform is going to. At a certain point, we're going to transition off. There's no different than what you mentioned about DJ Hollywood Polo and your other mans and what they got going on. That's where Beyond the Reverb is going for me. It's going to allow me to go back into my community safely because I can't right now go into my community safely. I'm not crazy.
No, man. Listen, bro. Listen, I get it. So with me, it's like I'm from Gates Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy. And Reggie and I spoke a lot about this, right? So where I come from has a real negative, foul name. And I'm not even going to speak on it on camera. But ultimately, who I was, or not even, I'm still the same person, but the things that I engaged in as a youth, a lot of the stuff that I've done, some of these rappers talk about, bro. You know what I mean? And being in, this is just a fact. Like, so, and it's like, I don't have to glorify or glamorize any of that. Reggie has been around. We've sat people in my neighborhood. It's like, I'm not trying to get anybody to vouch for anything that I've done negatively. What I need to focus on is everyone that knows me from the past and all those negative things that I was doing. I was still beloved in the community. I'm still a man of God. It's like, damn, like, look at him now. We don't owe anybody. See, these artists don't owe the young artists. Only thing we all owe anyone is an example of what to do and what right looks like. You get what I'm saying? I don't have to give back. No one has to. But if I can give you a positive example, and guess what? The game is to be sold by not told. So when it's time for me to really talk about my story, it will be in the form of a book, and you can purchase that. And you can really understand the things that I've talked about, that I've been in, things that have happened to me in my life. My sister being murdered 20 years ago this year, before I turned 20 years old, losing both of my parents to cancer, losing plenty of friends that got murdered. One of my best friends who's been down for 20 years for murder. Matter of fact, today I found out that a kid that grew up with me watching them, he just got pinched. He's going in jail for 8 years. Being one of 15 people in my set, the people that I deal with, who hasn't had a felony. You know what I'm saying? Everyone's done 10, 12 years. I could take 5, 6 dudes that I grew up with, and they got 100 years in prison. This is the facts of my life. You know what I mean? But I found a way to travel the world, broaden my spectrum, meet people from all across the board. I'm a conduit. So I'm able to talk to anyone from a Flow Rider all the way down to a Fredo Bang to a Chord A to this one, because I can relate to everybody's experience. It's music first and foremost. That's why I talk about the art, bro. I can talk about the music, have a good time, take something out of it, and it doesn't make any conversation seem forced or fake. You know what I mean? And by the way, what I did, one of my good guys, Rello, shout out Rello, his EP is dropping today, as a matter of fact. You know, when the moment went crazy with Corday, Rello, my man Rello jumped in my DM and he was like, yo, G, I see you, you killing shit. And I was like, I'm watching you killing shit too. You're doing music, what's up? He responded, well, you know, I see the people you talking to. I wasn't sure if what I had was for this program. I said, let me tell you something. The minute I get off the phone, this Zoom with Flow Rider, I'm gonna call you back. And then I was like, listen, bro, I just finished talking to 2 Grammy Award winning artists. One, Flow Rider's #7 on the top of all time hip hop selling artist list. And I said, immediately getting off of them, I'm wondering, when can you be on a platform with me? Because I believe in you and I never know if you're going to be next. That's all he needed to juice him up and get him hyped up. So I use what I got, my platform, to share and spread wealth with my people. And if I could get my man Rello to stay focused on his dream and everything, guess what? I did what I'm supposed to do. And if I could do that, and everyone does that on a daily basis, then we're working as community in the world.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I love about Pacific Push. Y'all about everybody. All this old, new, is everybody. Pacific Push is a different breed. It's a different mindset. It's a mindset in its own, the way I see it. You know, y'all on a mission, y'all getting things done. I understand it's not about the money all the time, but money talks. And you're going to get yours. I'm telling you, you're going to get yours.
We're all going to get ours, brother. Like, you know, listen, you got to understand this, man. I appreciate this. And I don't get the opportunity to have these kind of discussions about hip hop. That's why I'm very, I love what you and D's do, right? So what I focus on is a 15-minute boom, boom, boom. It's a skill kind of thing. And without my brother Reggie Hawkins, without Taste Radio being able to see these things and materialize it, without guys like Anon understanding and motivating me. And guess what? I know by the work that I've put in over these past soon to be 2 years, it's motivated him to help push what he's doing. Because we operate in the same space, baby. We got a big old media space, big old house, and we do our thing. And you know, what I'm doing with my platform is I'm showing that you can compete when you believe in yourself and you eliminate distractions. I can be whoever I am. I don't have to talk about myself, because that's why I feel good talking on your platform, because I'm a guest in your house. Let me talk. I'm a guest in your house. When you come to my house, you talk. You know what I'm saying? Because it's about your guests. You treat your guests with hospitality, and ultimately, brother, I'm gonna get paid, and I own my own masters. What that means is my show is my show. Like Taste Radio, we're partners, we're family. Without Taste, I couldn't do this. But we're doing this like on some 300 shit where I got my own camera, I got my own backdrop. We book our own people. You know, Corday was on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. The next morning, he's on the radio with me. And as a matter of fact, the conversation that we had was so powerful, and that's the power of words, bro. I was able to talk about Jadakiss serving. I'm a Kiss fan. Hey, man, you going to do a song with Kiss? And it touched him. And it touched him long enough to say, yo, you know what, G? When I get on LA Leakers, I'm gonna do a Jadakiss beat. And he was a man of his word.
And
this is a 24-year-old young man who talks about God, who's in a long-term relationship, who's well-mannered, poised, Grammy nominated, multi-millionaire. He's an example, brother. And that's the only thing that matters. Let's focus on the positive examples. Don't focus on those 20 artists that's telling you, oh, these bitches get this money. Focus on the Cordays. You know what I mean? And I'm a part of that history. Now I'm a part of that freestyle forever.
So proud of what you guys got going on, what you're doing, and how your mindset is. For real. Tell the people how to find you.
Hey, brother. I'm OGee _money on Instagram. Pacific Push. Follow us on Instagram. I haven't messed in the Twitter world, but you can find me on the Facebook too. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment. Pacific Push on YouTube. And honestly, I'm just thankful to be here, and it's a pleasure, bro. Talking to y'all I get the same joy talking to y'all that I did from talking to Flow Rider, my brother. Even more so because I'm in here with family.
Well, let's be honest. I still had a lot of more material, and I can't wait to talk about it some more. But
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to bounce back off of something as we wrap this up. Something that OGee pointed out to me. It was something I found in my research. And it's amazing because I didn't really think about things the way I thought about them until I actually had to start doing research. And when drill came up, and I'm going to keep going back to drill, it's almost like they're pointing us that drill is when music went a different direction. And they call it a subgenre of hip hop. And so the reason why I bring that up is that they credit Gucci Man with his song 745 in 2006 as one of the first songs that came out that was so blunt mainstream, talking about murder. And we know the issues that happened with that, and we saw the verses and stuff, and they dapped up at the end, though it got kind of a little hairy. Then you had Pac-Man, who came out, and he's out of Chicago. The same year he came out with his mixtape, he was murdered. He was the first one credited with actually mentioning drill in one of his songs that he created. Then you have Chief Keef at 16 years old. He made the first smash hit, Billboard chart at 73 with I Don't Like. And then we know he blew up with Kanye taking over on the remix. So from there, it transferred to the UK. And when it went to the UK and hit the London scene, the engineers were confused by how the flows were going. And so they added their own melody to close out the point because the artist didn't know how to count music notes and stuff like that. But where it really gets significant is that in my research, I found it went to Italy, Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, Spain. Then it went further than that. It actually went to Sweden, Brazil, Australia, Korea. It hit Africa with influences from Pop Smoke, where it hit Kenya, Nigeria, South Africa, Mozambique, and Ghana when Chico God first heard it. And so you're talking about music that has circled the globe, and everybody has taken a piece of it. And OGee talked about that earlier, how hip hop is everybody. Though it came out of the Bronx, it is spread across the globe. But we can never discount the struggle that still exists that comes out of the music. And so we really want to identify ways to be solution-based. We have to dissect the music, and not dissect it to put them in handcuffs, but dissect it to change the predicaments that these young people are facing that causes them to have to think that this is the only avenue to get out.
OGee, you got any last words?
Yo, just being in the Western world, everyone pays attention to what we do, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? And now I got to really talk about just hip hop, which is a culture. But man, Black people, we get paid attention to. You know what I'm saying? Like the way we dress, the way we do this. I went to Korea and I saw some dudes that look better than me. I said, damn, they got the newest Dior shit. They found a way to take what we have and add on to it. Like case in point, D's was saying all that. I'm laughing. Yo, shout out to my man, Polish Mike, man, because he was like, yo, G, I got the hottest drill artist in Warsaw, Poland. I'm like, I bet, let's set it up. But the crazy part about it is he doesn't speak a lick of English. So I'm gonna have to have my brother Polish Mike on the Zoom. We're gonna do this like it's a boxing match. Yo, talk, translate, okay, ask questions. We can't even communicate with each other, but if we got somebody neutral in the middle, we'll find a way to communicate, and I can still listen to your music. Like, you know, you go around the world, which we're well traveled, man. You go around the world, people singing songs in English, and they don't know what the fuck going on, but it just sounds good. And that's another thing we got to understand. Sometimes it's the beat, it's the melody, and the folks that are listening to the music, everyone can't decipher lyrics with the brain that a lyricist can. They don't understand the double entendres and these witty metaphors and clever joints. They hear the hook, they hear the beat, and they move, baby.
This has been an unbelievable experience for me. Anon, I appreciate you, brother. OGee.
Much love, baby. Much love. It's family, man. Like, I'm here with y'all, bro. This is what I had on my plan. I said, man, I set my cameras up. I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to all the success that y'all gonna have through the rest of the year. However, you know, we can support you. I'm here, bro.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So on that note, I'm D Brooke.
I'm Anon.
And we out.